This area out here is the cortex. So this is renal cortex. The area where the renal pyramids are, this whole area collectively, this region is the renal medulla. Here's a renal pyramid. Inside the renal pyramid are collecting ducts. So you can see those little lines. And here's one in white. Here's another view of a collecting duct, a more magnified view. The renal papilla is this little tip down here, right here, right here. On this model, it would be right there, or here. The renal papilla sits in a minor calyx. So here, or on here, here's a minor calyx. Here's a minor calyx cut into. The minor calyces drain into major calyces. So wherever there's two minor calyces that join together, it's now a major calyx. So on this model, just turn it down. Here's a thank you. Here's a minor calyx. Here's a minor calyx, and in this region would be a major calyx. This is the renal pelvis. This is the ureter. So on here, this would be the renal pelvis, and this would be the ureter. The hilum is this region right here. That indentations, that's the renal hilum. Here's the nephron, all of this. Inside the nephron, here's a glomerulus. Here's an enlarged view of a glomerulus. This is the glomerular capsule, here or here. The renal tubule is the rest of the nephron to here. This is the proximal convoluted tubule. Here's the loop of Henle. And now it's the distal convoluted tubule. Blood vessels. I went over that before, but here's the renal artery. This is segmental artery. It splits into interlobar artery, arcuate artery, interlobular artery. So over here, this would be interlobar artery. Here's an arcuate artery. Here's an interlobular artery. From the interlobular artery, here's an arcuate artery coming, well, let's go back. Here's an interlobar artery. Here's an arcuate artery. Here's an interlobular artery. Coming off of the interlobular artery are afferent arterioles. The afferent arterioles are carrying blood to the glomerulus. So here's an afferent arteriole. You can tell it's the afferent two ways. One, it's a little wider than the efferent. Think of all that liquid coming in, but a lot of it leaves the bloodstream, so you don't need as big a vessel leaving. But also, the afferent arteriole has the juxtaglomerular cells forming it. So here's the macula densa. Here's the juxtaglomerular cells together. They form the juxtaglomerular apparatus. Here's the glomerulus again. Here's the efferent arteriole. From the efferent arteriole, here's an efferent arteriole. From the efferent, and here's an efferent arteriole. The efferent arterioles carry the blood to the peritubular capillaries. So coming down here, here's arcuate artery, here's interlobular artery, here's afferent arteriole going into the glomerulus. So here's an afferent arteriole going into the glomerulus. Here's the efferent arteriole coming out of the glomerulus, which forms the paratubular capillaries. And here's more paratubular capillaries. They couldn't show them everywhere, or they wouldn't have been able to show the vessels, the structures underneath. For the veins, we have the interlobular vein, the arcuate vein, well, no, that's not it. That's the Pupilli. Let's go back over here. Here's the arcuate vein, the interlobar vein coming down here. So arcuate vein, interlobar vein. There's no segmental vein. Just goes directly into the renal vein. Here's the ureter. Here's the ureter on this side and this side. The two ureters carry urine to the, sit like that, okay, to the urinary bladder. And so on this model, here's the ureter coming along, and if we could take this out, thank you. Here's the ureter coming down from the kidney to the urinary bladder. Here's the opening of the ureter. And it's at one of the three corners of the trigon. The trigon, the two upper corners, are the left and right ureters opening. At the bottom is the urethra, the third corner of the trigon. So this area is the trigon. In here are the rugae, just like you had rugae in the stomach,
Yeah.
same thing here. Rugae in the bladder. It's all these folds that let it get really big when it's 6 in the morning and you haven't tinkled all night. And then later on, it gets small. And then here's the urethra leaving, and as you saw, traveling down through the penis. Or on the female, here's the urinary bladder, here's the urethra coming down. And the detrusor muscle is the muscle in this wall, here or here. This one shows it a little better. So most of this wall is muscle, and that's the detrusor muscle. Okay, we've just covered the whole urinary system.